Hey guys, welcome to the Creative Makes Studio and welcome to our Zentangle animal workshop. So today we're going to be making some very cute little puppet animals that are based on the artwork of Clare Youngs. So this is what we'll be making today, but you can also do other animals. I've got a fox here as well. So you can do whatever animal you like. So Clare Youngs is a UK-based artist and she does a lot of paper art. So she has dabbled in other art as well, so weaving and things like that, but for the most part she does paper art. She's also written about 12 or 13 books and some colouring books. So you can see here, this is some of her paper art, and we'll pop a link to her website in the description below. And this is some of her work from her colouring book called Colour Yourself to Happiness. So this is where the Zentangle idea came from. So in your packs that you have got, you should have the following. 4 split pins, 4 pieces of coloured paper, 3 pieces of black paper, and 4 pieces of white paper. You will also need to provide glue stick, scissors, pencil and an eraser, and either a black fine liner pen or a black texture or Sharpie. Either or is fine. You can use either of them. So, to get started, we need to decide what animal we're going to do. So as you can see here, this is a sketch of my bird. So I based my sketch on one of the existing artworks of Clare Youngs, but you don't have to do that. You can do whatever animal you like in whatever way you like, but you do just need to work out what parts of the animal you're going to be doing. So you can see here I've got the body, which I did all as one piece, the wing, the 2 legs, and the tail. So I'd like you now to pause the video and go ahead and do a sketch on one of your white pieces of paper of what animal you are going to be making today. Okay, now that you've worked out the animal that you're going to be doing, we need to break it down into the individual parts of the animal. So you can see on my sketch, as we were talking about, we've got the body. So we'll draw the body first. Now I have some room on my paper, so I'm also going to do the wing on this paper as well. You need to go through and do this for every single part of your animal. So when it's finished, for the bird that I've done, I will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different parts to my animal. The tail, the wing, the body and the head, and both of the legs. So I want you to go ahead and do that. Draw all your individual pieces, and then you need to cut them out as well. Okay, so show you just cutting around the shape. Okay guys, the other thing you can do if you would like 2 or more animal parts to look exactly the same like I have for the legs, is you can actually use your first one and trace around it onto your paper to get the shape for your other ones. Okay, so if you've got 4 legs that you want to look all exactly the same, or 2 ears that you want to look exactly the same, then use your first one, draw and cut out your first one, and then trace around that for your other ones. Also, don't forget to cut out an eye for your animal as well. So I've just done a simple circle for mine, but you can do whatever shape you like. All right, so go ahead and do that. Draw your individual body pieces and then cut each of them out and then come back. All right, so now we're going to start sticking on our coloured papers. So So we'll do each individual piece at a time. So I'm going to start with my wing and my coloured papers. Let's find some coloured papers. Now I have some scrappy bits here that are left over from other things, but you will have your nice new pieces of paper. So basically all we're doing with this is just cutting it into random shapes and sticking it onto each of our pieces, covering the whole thing so you can't see any white. So I've already got some smaller bits here that I can just stick straight on. When you're sticking your pieces on, you don't have to worry about making sure that you trim them so that they fit exactly onto your animal pieces, because you can trim it afterwards. So I will show you what I mean by that. So I'll stick my first few on. I won't do the whole thing, but I will show you a couple. This bluish one on here. Oh, did not stick properly. Okay, so you can see that these are actually hanging off the side. So what I can do once the whole thing's covered is I can go around with my scissors and I can just trim around my original shape. Just cut off the extra bits that we don't need. All right, and then it goes back to the shape of the wing. So go ahead and do that. You can do all of your pieces now. For mine, I used one piece for the tail and one piece for each of the legs, so that they were all the same colour, but the other bits, I've done lots of colours on there. I've also left my eye white. If you want to do a coloured eye, you can, but I chose to leave my eye white, so it stands out a bit more. So go ahead and stick all your pieces of paper on. Pause the video while you're doing that and come back when you're finished. Okay guys, so now you should have all your pieces that look a little bit like this. Now I haven't got all of them done, but this is the wing. So the next step is the Zentangling. Now Zentangle, as I was showing you before, is basically using lines, patterns and shapes to make up pictures. So for example, we've got a little frog here, and to show us where his mouth is, he's got little circles going along in a line, and to show us his leg, we've got a big circle with little patterns inside of it. Plants over here is another good example. I'm hoping you can all see it because it's kind of small. We might include some pictures in the video as well. But our shapes on here, we can do a similar thing with. So each little piece of paper, I can define that piece of paper by Zentangling it. So I'm going to use a Sharpie so that you guys can see, because some of my papers are very dark. But if you only have a black pen or a fine liner, that will work okay as well. Depends how detailed you want to be. So I might start with this triangle that's right in the middle of my wing. And I'm just going to go ahead and do some shapes inside here to define the triangle. So what I'm doing is drawing smaller triangles inside the big triangle. You can see that. Then I can also add some patterns. So I might choose to do some circles along the inside of every second triangle, for instance. So I'll quickly do that and show you what I mean. So that just adds a little bit more interest. If you're doing a particular type of animal that has scales or feathers, like I've got my bird that I'm doing feathers on, I actually did a Zentangle on the tail that made the tail look like a feather. So that's another option as well. So this one here, you can see a few other examples of some Zentangling. So I've got some zigzags, some swirlies, some dots with dots inside them. I actually drew a little leaf on this one, and some other patterns and things as well. So you can do as much or as little Zentangling on yours as you like. While you're doing that, you can pause the video and then we will move on. All right, so once you've done all your Zentangling, the The next thing that we are going to do is back all of our work onto some black paper. Now the reason why we do this is because, I can show you one here, putting the coloured paper on the coloured paper without giving it any definition is going to make it kind of hard to see all the different parts of our animal. So if I was to place this on here, it kind of gets lost in all the other ones that are the same colour. Whereas when you've got your black paper as an outline, it defines the wing and it defines the leg and the tail, and so on and so forth. So to do that, we're going to get each of our body parts. Again, I'm only doing the wing, but you need to do this for all of yours. And we're going to stick them onto the black paper that was in your pack. So we're just going to use the glue sticks again, pop some glue on. You don't have to put stacks of glue on, guys, like it will stick without heaps of glue. Pop it on. Now when you put it on, make sure you leave a border around because we're now going to trim this down. So you can do your borders as thick or as thin as you like. It's up to you. I'm going to do mine about the same as I did for the bird. And I'm just going to trim all the way around, leaving a black border around the animal's wing, my bird's wing. So it will then look a little something like this. So you can see on this one, I've done it around every single piece, including the eye. Okay, so each of the legs, the wing, the tail, the body. So if you've got 4 legs, you're going to have to do it 4 times. But it just gives a really good definition to all the different parts of your animal. So pause the video while you go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back, and the last step is putting our animal together. Okay, so if you've got all your parts all outlined, they should all be looking like this. And for this next bit, we're going to be putting our animals together. We are nearly finished. So we need all of our animal parts, a pair of scissors, and our split pins for this bit. So you do have 4 split pins in your pack. It is up to you to decide what you want to move on your animal. So on the fox that I showed you earlier, the only things that move are the tail and only 2 of the legs. So the legs that sit on the outside. All right, these other legs are glued on and the head's also glued on. However, you could do all 4 legs and just leave the tail without moving and the head without moving, or you could do the head moving and maybe 3 of the legs moving. It's totally up to you. Okay, so any bits that you don't want to move, you just glue them on in the spot that you want them. But the bits you do want to move, that's what we use the split pins for. So to use a split pin, the reason they're called a split pin is because they've got 2 little prongs like this that open up. And when we put them through the paper, that's what holds everything in place. So the first step is to actually decide where you want your bits to be. So I've taken my poor bird's legs off for the purposes of showing you guys, but I decided I wanted my legs to be here and here. So just place everything where you want it until you're happy with it. Then it's time to make the holes for the split pins. So for this, you have 2 choices. If you have a hole punch, then you can just hole punch it, but it is going to be a little bit looser. It's going to be a little bit more floppy. I prefer to make smaller holes with scissors. Now, if you do not have, say, safety scissors, and that you're not using safety scissors right now because these ones are safety scissors, I would please request you go and get an adult to help you for this next bit. If you have safety scissors, you still do need to be careful. You've got to open them up, and we're using one of the points, either side, whichever one's more comfortable, to just gently wriggle and push down. So be gentle, please don't put a hole in the table. Nice and gentle, wriggle and push until you have a hole through your leg and at least a spot where you can see where that was going to be. Then you take the leg off and then finish the hole in this one. Sometimes it goes all the way through. It just depends on what paper you've ended up with on here. But you want to go through the leg until you get through to the bird and you can see where the spot was, and then continue, take the leg off and continue the hole, or you can go all the way through. Now once you've got a hole in both, we use our split pins by pushing them through the holes that we've made. That's what it looks like on the front. This is what it looks like on the back. And then we open up these splits, the prongs, and push them down, and that holds the paper in place. So you can see now it's holding it in place, but it can still move. Okay, so go ahead and stick your animals together. I'm going to put my other leg back on while you start doing that. And I would really love to see any photos that you want to take of your animals and post them into the Creative Makes Kids group. Otherwise, I'm more than happy for you to send me an email with the pictures as well if you don't want to go on the Facebook group. So this is what we should end up with. I hope you guys enjoyed making our Zentangle animals, and this is one that you can do at home by making your own papers and things as well. So I look forward to seeing all the animals, guys. Thanks so much for making with me. Bye.